had interactions with Sean, and a very successful football coach. Tough to defend for, tough to defend against. I think he does a great job with his personnel and his scheme and the guys that he had in New Orleans and how they use those guys, and then certainly how he's using the weapons offensively in Denver. And I think you have to prepare for a lot. And again, it's not like they do too much to where they're, they've got rules for everything. They've got protections for everything. Good mixture in the run game. There's some RPO with some big people personnel. So it's like I think he's had his core concepts that he's had for a lot of years, and then he's just continued to add onto that. As some of the game has changed and some of the ideas and the schemes have evolved. And so I think that's pretty unique. I think he's got plays for certain guys that he wants to try to find ways to get them the ball. His record clearly speaks for itself, and so tough challenge. He's a proven winner in this league.
Mike, what's your a lot of talk about Jarrett Stidham obviously coming in here, but what have Josh Dobbs and Tommy DeVito been like for you all season long?
They prepare as a starter every week, and Dobbsy's had to go in there a little bit. I think Tommy's really improved in our system and what it is that we're asking him to do and how he would need to operate. So again, those guys have been great. They've been a huge support for Drake and everything that we've done offensively, and then running and operating our show team.
Do you anticipate any limitations for Christian Barmore in the altitude?
No, certainly something that we have to monitor. There are some players that we'll have to monitor for one reason or another, but I don't see any limitations for Christian.
Hey, Mike, regarding preparing for Sean, among the things, trick plays, he used it in big games, had a local pass last week, in the Super Bowl, surprise onside kick. Is that something that you generally just fall back on your fundamentals, reading keys? Is there a way to prepare for all the possibilities when it comes to
I think I've got the surprise onside kick handled.
Yeah, that one we don't have to
Okay. I was going to say I got that one covered. You can't really play for, they run bubbles, and so the complementary play is the bubble and go. Now, you can't sit there and wait for the bubble and go because, 8 or 9 times out of 10 you're going to be wrong. And so I think you just have to play defense. You have to go and play with a certain speed and aggressiveness, and then, obviously what your keys tell you to do and where, your read would tell you to go and cover. And so, he's certainly the timing of when he's called some of these things has been impressive. And then again, when you call those, then it's up to the players to make it work, and they've done a good job of making those plays work. But the timing in which some of these things have been called have been good.
What kind of impact did Ramondre have as a pass catcher for you guys this year?
Going all the way back to Miami, we needed a play, and he was able to give us one. And I think that's just something that's part of his skill set. It's been great to have and to use, and just another one of those guys to spread the ball around.
Last week we saw the Bills get a crucial penalty on an underthrown deep ball for interference. Is that something you guys are going to be looking out for this week? And what are the keys to not getting penalized on these kinds of things?
I think all I can tell you is that the more that you play the football, the better chance that you have of not getting a defensive, pass interference penalty. So, if you can play the football and make sure you try to turn around and lean and locate, you have a chance. If you're not playing the football, margin for error goes way down.
Mike Taylor seems like a pretty good fight for you guys. What have you seen from him, and what surprised you?
Great attitude from day one. Came in and worked hard on those Thursday practices that we talked about, and showed up, and then had a conversation and that said that as soon as you can, learn what to do and where to go and what to, how to run the defense. We've decided he was ready, and then he took advantage of his opportunity. So, The first was getting recognized in practice, and then was learning what to do kind of midstream there, and maybe took him a week or so to do that, and where we felt comfortable bringing him up.
You talked about the ability of players to make plays and how important they are in these games.
All games. It's always important for players to make good plays.
From a coaching perspective, how do you put guys in positions so that they can be ready in regular season games or postseason games to have success?
I think that just comes from practice and learning guys and seeing what they're comfortable with, and maybe looking at a receiver, if there's a certain route that they run and you feel like it's game ready and there's speed to it, there's timing to it, you feel comfortable. So you can kind of check that one off the box. Every player is unique. Every player has a different skill set, different play style, and try to ask them to do things that they're good at and try to work on improving the things that maybe they aren't as good at. But then you get to a certain point where you probably don't try to force it.
Mike, what's made Benito and Zach Allen such a productive tandem there when they're alongside one another? Do they complement each other well?
Well, I think they're talented. I think they're both very athletic for their position. Benito is his strength is speed, his length, his ability to bend and corner. And Zach Allen's skill set is a bigger athletic interior player who has the ability to speed to power. But he, really where he's making his hay is, kind of making guys miss and sitting down bigger players and then, bursting on an edge. So they're talented, and then the scheme that they put him in makes them, tough.
Mike, did you get to know Allen at all when he was the BC? Do you overlap?
Briefly, yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, briefly. I think Tyler was a red shirt. Yeah, I think a while ago, I remember talking with him.
Mike, how have you seen Corey Jordan improve as a pass rusher? And is that an aspect of his game that has surprised you at all?
No, I think that he's just worked hard at it. I think that's something that he's focused on, is figuring out what works for him. He's not built like Zach Allen. He shouldn't try some of that stuff. And, you get together with the player, Clint, and everybody else, and the coach, and you'll kind of figure out a couple moves that may work for them, and then you go about, practicing those through the week and then coming up with a plan. So they're not trying things that, maybe they're not good at.
Like with Sean Payton, the timing that you mentioned of some of those calls, is that a case? Do you see him setting things up earlier in the game, gathering information, formationally testing early drives, and then getting to it later, or is it just kind of a knack he's had as a long time?
Well, I think there's a combination of both. I think it's, fourth down, unbalanced, tackles out, they throw a shot, against the Chargers, for a big play. So that's, something, that they may have shown some look and thought that it was going to be a certain play, and he's able to take a shot. Some of it is that they are, marrying plays and concepts just like, a lot of other people. And then they, have plays that repeat that they're also really good at. And if you don't defend them, he just keeps calling them.
In the last two games we've had, Christian Gonzalez go out with the head injury, and then this last game, Carlton Davis. With Charles Woods, how have you seen him mentally stay prepared, and just how he rises to the occasion when he is given that opportunity?
Well, we hope that he doesn't rise to the occasion. We hope that he's just prepared and ready to go, which he has been, like you talked about. Those are opportunities. When you play behind, good players, sometimes you don't get a whole lot of opportunity, and then when you do, you have to be ready for it. And he has done that. He's prepared as a starter. He's ready to go. You don't have a whole lot of notice. You don't get a whole lot of notice when you have to go in there. And so just being able to throw in there and go in there and not be able to have to change the game plan is nice.
Mike, when it comes to Drake, it seems like he's risen to the challenge as the games have gotten bigger. What does that mean
lead our offense, be the conductor, and help us handle the environment. Find as many positive plays as you can, take care of the football, own the operation, and then you're going to have to make some big time throws. I mean, you're going to have to. That's just kind of how this thing goes, and no different than what we've expected him from the entire season, what we've expected of him, and how he's produced. And it's great to see some not so positive plays that don't affect some things that have to happen later in the game for us to succeed.
Like the players have talked about your 4-H's, we see you with them in the tunnel after these games. Where did this kind of new school coaching style come from? How did it develop?
I mean, I don't know how new school it is. When I was at Ohio State, I tried to have a great relationship with the defensive linemen that I coached. When I went to Houston, I tried to have a great relationship with Whitney Merciless and Max Bulla and Brian Cushing and everybody that we coached down there. And then each step along the way, you become a head coach. And again, those relationships probably aren't as the same. Want to try to be honest with them, be transparent, be authentic. I think that's the biggest thing, is just be authentic and don't try to be fake. But we see each other every day. I hope we have some level of care for what they do as people and as players.
Mike, I don't know if individuals from your team are not finalists for end of season awards, including yourself. What's your reaction to that, and what does that just say about your team?
I hope that they all win.
I don't know if this was taken out of context, but Coach Payton was quoted as saying the fans in Denver would have 2 weeks to rest up after the AFC Championship before screaming their heads off at the Super Bowl. Do you believe in bulletin board material?
I think we're plenty motivated for the game. I think that our players are continuing to build confidence through the week. So I'm really excited to go out there and play.
Mike, how would you characterize Patrick Surtain's skill set? And do they move him around to travel with opposing top receivers?
I mean, he's targeted infrequently. He's physical. He is great length, can run. He's athletic. He's willing to tackle. He plays physical. You have to really be convicted when you're going to go and throw at him. You better be very convicted, and there better be a good route, and you better have the ball in a good spot, or it's going to be a turnover or a PBU. So, I mean, I could just remember going and seeing him at Alabama, whether I was at the clinic or a pro day or something, just the presence of him. I mean, his dad was a fantastic player, and just his presence and the way that he carried himself as a leader and as a person, a lot of respect for him.
Along those lines, with how they've tried to get Surtain to get more involved, have you done that with Christian Gonzalez this year, trying to get him more on the ball, make more plays?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for Gonzo making as many plays as possible and being active, and he doesn't get targeted, as much either. But there's times where he travels. There's times where he's in different locations. It was great to see his ball production last week, even the ball that they caught on him, the hammer that he had that was close to being a fumble.
You said before that Drake was one of the reasons that attracted you to this job. Just in your year working with him, what has maybe surprised you the most about him?
You don't want to know what my other reasons for coming here was? I had a joke teed up. It was going to be the media, but
Thank you.
you're welcome. Only you. He just continues to grow, and again, I think I'm excited for these guys to be in this environment and to see all their hard work pay off and be able to play in a game like this. That's, I think there's been a lot of growth from this football team over the course of the offseason, the season, and just another opportunity for us to show that this week. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
I don't know which way you want me to leave.
Chris Price contemplated just
Not short weather.
This is perfect.
You know, oh, running weather. Yeah. Yeah, I'm okay with that. That's a
Sidewalks are clear.
Seriously, I don't do anything.
I get it.
I over. Every time. Anytime.
I'm the same.
I get the, like,
You can't get it up. Oh, yeah. Just a warm up. Right. No, it's not bad. It's not bad.
Oh, we got packed house today. What's up, guys? How we doing? Nice to see you guys, man. Nice to see y'all. Another week.
What's this week been like for you? Any different as far as preparation details?
No, it's been the same as it's been the last 20 weeks and whatnot. So same prep, keep the same routine. Just trying to get our guys ready to rock and roll and get everything ironed out and make sure we do our best we can for offense and defense and try to win the game.
Jeremy, a big tenet of this team from Coach Vrabel has been just make one play to spark some momentum. I feel like on special teams that's kind of been your calling card, your team's calling card as well. Like, hey, if we can make one play on special teams, we can jumpstart this thing.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way, and how do you instill that in your guys to kind of feel like they have that impact in the game?
Well, that's how we always talk about. We always talk about one play perfection for us. That's one of our key things that we even start our meetings with and how we continue to talk. And that doesn't always mean like a touchdown. It's like, hey, we're backed up punt. It's 4th and 28, and we got to flip the field. That to me is a perfect play. Like that helps our defense out, helps our offense out of a bad situation. So we're consistently talking about that. I mean, because we only get that. That's all we get on special teams, right? The 4th down, the kickoff, the field goal opportunity, the extra point to win the game, whatever it may be. So that's always been talked about since day one. And yeah, you're exactly right with that.
Do you have an idea of Indy's range when it comes to mile high and the altitude, or is that something you have to figure out pregame?
Figure out pregame. Yeah, we never kicked together in that area, so we'll figure out pregame. Yeah, I mean, I coached at Arizona for 3 years, so I kind of know the elevation, how that affects kicks, and it's going to be cold though, so that would also affect the kicks as well, and then it could be windy as well. So all those factors play a different role. So we'll see how it goes, but excited to be in that area.
You have to make like a game time discovery like that. Like how much time do you have to kind of like process the information you get?
Yeah, we do it every game. So you get a couple hours. I mean, we're out there early. We're the first group out there. Our special out there early, so we get plenty of time to kind of make those decisions, have that dialogue. We've been doing it since day one, so we already have an understanding once we get out there what it's going to be.
Things happen where there's been a mistake point here or a point.
Yeah.
It's just like, how do you kind of account for like, hey, we're trying to process this as quickly as possible because of that good experience for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get a feel for pregame, the sun, the wind, and things like that, and you just try to prepare that way. And you have a lot of film to watch on them, and what the conditions are like there on film, and you kind of prepare that way as well.
What makes Devin Key an all-pro player?
Man, he plays relentless. I mean, he's got 22 tackles on kickoff. That's just enough of how relentless he plays. He's kind of a guy that very athletic, aggressive, plays violent. There's nothing I can say bad about his play style, which is something that we like here. He's got that identity, and it shows on film. And he's hard to block. He's done it consistently from game one to game now, and there's a reason why he's a first-team All-Pro. He's done that consistently.
Along those lines here, just the scheme with Coach Rizzi, like where do they
Well, Rizzy, man, another guy I got a lot of respect for who's done it consistently for a long time, but he puts pressure on you, man. Like he's really good about, scheming you up and finding ways where, you're weak at and exploiting those weaknesses. And he's got a lot of film to watch, and he's done that throughout his career. And he's got his guys in place. They got a young group of guys, but they're a very athletic and a very tough group. They play violent. They play with speed. They got a lot of detail to the game. They got Marvin Mims back there, who to me is one of the top returners in this league. If not our guy's number one, he might be number two. So I just think I got a lot of respect for what they're doing right now. And they've kind of grown into their roles throughout the year of being a young group. And they've kind of figured out where they're really good at, and they're playing at a high level because of it.
What makes them so good at that return role?
This is, to me, one of the elite traits of a returner is they know how to set up their blocks. He does an elite job of that, setting up his blocks and returns, where he's going to the field, the sideline, vertical. He's got a really, really good feel where everyone's at on the field, and when he does that, he can find the vertical seam and hit it. He's a game wrecker, without a doubt.
Jeremy, we've heard stories about how Vrabel keeps the players on top of everything, give them pop quizzes. Does he do the same to you coaches?
I like to say, every day is 4th and 1 with Coach Reyes, man. You got to be detailed. Hey, just like our players are, we got to be the same way. And what I love about Coach Vrabel is that he's not a yes man. Like he's gonna look at everything from his experience and all the coaches he's been around. And if he doesn't like something, he doesn't like it. He's going to question it, but in a positive way, so where we can work it out and get to something that we both agree upon. But to answer your question, he's always going to question us, making sure that we're on our P's and Q's, which is a good thing. It makes us a lot sharper.
What's it been like to watch your players develop their details as the season goes on and their selflessness for each other?
I tell you what, like I said, man, there's from top down. This, like I said it earlier, I think a few weeks ago, this is the most unselfish group I've been around. From Stephon Diggs to Brandon Schooler, like it's just an unselfish group. And I think they've kind of bought into seeing how Coach Vrabel, how important the details, the identity, and the things that he preaches every day to our team, how important those things have helped us win games throughout the year. And because of that, slowly but surely, winning games helps, but the guys have bought into that, and it's kind of translated in that sense. But, again, the whole group is just so unselfish. I can name everybody on the team that they'll do anything to help us on special teams, to help the offensive defense out to win games. And it all starts at the top. And those leaders, including Coach Vrabel, have done a good job of just stressing that from day one.
Jeremy, this might seem like a basic question, but how does the elevation affect special teams?
It doesn't affect it only in the sense that it'll affect it is going to be the ball. The ball is going to fly a little further, a little better. It should, but then with the wind and the cold, that could change things right there. But in terms of conditioning, we'll be just fine. Yeah.
Does that, in a small way, affect how you set up blockers or how you
It doesn't, just because it goes with the weather. Like the cold always kind of translates as well. You just got to go out there and make sure your plan's good and adjust pregame to what you're seeing and how the ball's flying.
Jeremy, from the outside looking in, it looks like Andy and Bryce have developed a super close relationship. How have you seen them kind of develop together, and has that contributed to how efficient the kicking operation has been this year?
I think all three. You left out Ashby as well. I think all three of those guys have a really good relationship. They're always together, as they should be. And with two rookies, like I said, Bryce has had to really take on a leadership role, just how to approach the day by day. And to be honest with you, I mean, you think about Ashby and Andy, they were combine training at this time last year. So they have not stopped in a full year. Over a year of been training, kicking, snapping for a full year. So for those guys to stay locked in this amount of time, it's not easy at all to stay locked in. We still got unfinished business, but I'm really proud of those guys that are just sticking it through, staying the course, and just believing in what we're doing here, and then trying to take ownership of that and get better.
Jeremy, I know he's been in the league a while, but when you look at Darren's history of using fakes, how and when do you see him get to those?
I think every coach, they have their plan, and situationally, down and distance, on the field position, if you're down or up in a game, when you want to use that, we always got to be aware in games like this that those kind of things can be brought out, and we got to make sure that we're prepared that way to be able to attack those type of things when they do come.
Is that a factor to understand they have a backup quarterback? They might need to pull some levers that otherwise they wouldn't.
I think in any game, I think if you're showing things and you're not sound, I think it's always going to be up. And guys that are experienced like Darren Rizzi, they're going to have a good plan in place, and we got to make sure that we're on our P's and Q's about that.
There have been situations where the specialists aren't as close, and it does affect operationally.
Yeah, I'm 15th year coaching now, so I've been in places where sometimes it's not the best. But I'm grateful that I have these three guys that are so close.
Jeremy, what has Marte meant to the punt team this year as the personal protector?
Unbelievable job. Marte's done unbelievable job. I mean, just the communication. You're the quarterback there. What goes on is a great question because, I mean, what goes on for that guy back there, and you don't get as much time as maybe the quarterback does throughout the week and stuff. You're seeing a lot of different things. And we punted the ball 8 times on Sunday, and he did a phenomenal job of getting us in the right calls against a very good Frankie Ross-led team there on special teams. But I can't say enough things on how much he's grown throughout the year. Very proud of him, how he's taking command and ownership of that role, and it's proved to be really vital for us throughout the year.
Jeremy,
Last question.
the Ellis brothers might be on the field at the same time.
Oh, I know, yeah. Yeah.
One of you guys talk about that. What's that going to be like?
Yeah, we've talked about that, obviously. I'd like to give him some shit for it, just, hey, there's your brother right there. Look at his face and his smile, picture, and just, we've been talking about it day by day, but I'm excited for it. I'm excited. I always like that, as a brother. I got a twin brother as a brother. It's like, and I remember playing him in college, and it was just a fun kind of week. For them, it's to go to the Super Bowl, right? So for them, it's even a bigger role. So I think he's really excited about it, as he should. His family's probably really excited about it. I'm excited to see how it plays out. Hopefully our Ellis is better than their Ellis at the end of the day.
Thanks, Jeremy.
All right, appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
No, they will keep them all. Yeah, they will keep, like, they did a whole thing, like, they all got. Yeah, so. Special teams coach doesn't make what he said. That was